2, 1.
No.
What is that shit? Oh my god!
I'm kidding. Let's do that again.
Was that Doug?
Yes.
Bro, that was me. Are you kidding?
You
God.
Jesus Christ.
All right, count that again.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is SojuTalk, your weekly shot of K-pop. Today we're recording episode 9, and today's date is October 2nd, 2018. I'm Doug, and joining me today we have Warren.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Jenny.
Hi, guys.
And Anita.
Hello.
Today's main topic is going to be K-pop companies and the big three. But before we get to that, let's go over the house cleaning or housekeeping that we do every week. So the first thing are the big new releases. So there was only 2 releases. I would consider it like a 1.5 release because one of them's like not technically an official release. But last Friday on September 28th, we had the SM Station collaboration with Seulgi, Sinb, Chungha, and Soyeon with Wow Thing. And then on October 1st, yesterday, Monday, we had iKon with Goodbye Road. So what did y'all think of these songs?
I gotta ask a question real quick. So is SM Station like a bi-weekly thing or like a? I get it's like a regular project thing they kind of do with the collabs. Like,
from what I understand, it's just whenever they get the collaborations together, they just release stuff.
Okay.
I think it's actually a weekly, or is it bi-weekly? But they're trying to release like a song bi-weekly, like for a whole year or something.
It seems like that.
Wow.
It's a project.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's an SM project.
That is fucking crazy.
And
damn.
we mentioned these on our show sometimes, especially on weeks like this week where we're in a dead period right now because the last week was Chuseok, so I included the song this week because I included it because I love the song personally.
Yes,
Good
I
shit.
agree with
Yeah.
that.
Like, okay, so let's go over the SM Station collab, which is Seulgi from Red Velvet, Sinb from Yeoja Chingu, Chungha, who's a solo artist, originally from IOI and produced 101 Season 1, and Soyeon, the main rapper from Yeoja Idol. And man, okay, my first impression was I knew Chungha was good, but Jesus, she carried this hard.
That's right, my girl.
Like,
yeah, Chungha was definitely like standing out. I was just like, ooh, that's right, she's the queen.
and you know, like Soyeon's gonna kill it with the rap because I would say out of all female idols right now, she's probably the best rapper.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like she's at the level where I can see her being like a standalone rapper if she had to be. Obviously, I don't think she would be as successful, but she's very talented as a rapper.
I like how she like makes like the G Idol songs too. She's like super talented at like producing too, I think.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Sinb, but I feel I'm gonna make maybe a controversial statement. Sorry, buddies, but I felt that she got a little bit overshadowed by the other kids in this.
I'm not gonna lie. She kind of felt like it was kind of out of place.
Yeah,
Like,
I would agree.
yeah.
Like,
it was Chungha, Seulgi, Soyeon, and then
Sinb.
okay. See, I don't even remember the last. I think Sinb was the most overshadowed.
Exactly.
Like,
But,
her
like,
character doesn't even match. Like everyone else kind of has that.
It's one of the,
You know
it's
what I
also
mean?
one of those things where if you look at the other 3 kids, you know, Sugi's the dance monster, Chungha's a dance monster, but Chungha's also like she could be a main vocal of a group if they needed one.
Right.
And we know Soyeon's like such a dominant rapper that you have these such big personalities around. And like this is not saying Sinbi's bad because obviously she's good at everything, but it's like these other kids are so stand out in what they do. It's like Jesus,
Yeah.
like.
Mm.
And one other thing about the whole music video and stuff, it's like you obviously with these collaborations, SM's not throwing the whole wallet at them, but I still thought the music video was fine and I liked
It was
it.
great. I love the styling.
Yo, I love their
makeup.
fucking outfits. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
I think this week both songs proved that you don't need to throw an incredible amount of money at a music
Yeah.
video to have
Yeah.
a good music video.
Yo, shout out to Scoot Apparel. I noticed a lot of their clothing is on the was on the music video.
Of course you did, bro. I did not notice the clothing at all.
Dude, I forgot who wore it, but someone, I think it was Chungha, who was wearing the jeans where like the top and
Okay.
bottom is divided.
Okay, I'm not a fan of those.
Dude,
Like,
those are
Am
fucking
I?
amazing, dude.
maybe I'm old.
Yeah,
but it's
you're
like,
just fucking
it's
old. Sorry, this is
maybe,
fucking
maybe,
fire.
Maybe it's like, bro,
It
your
looks
sleeves
a
are
bit
falling
awkward.
off, so let's strap them back on, just cause.
No, I think they
if
look
you
great.
think they're so fire, Warren, I want you to wear them to the Chungha concert in the spring.
No,
that
it's
I'm
too
going.
expensive. I'm not wearing that shit, dude. That's
No,
like
we'll just cut your pants and then we'll tape them to the top.
No.
And then easy.
no.
We'll go to Goodwill, get you a $5 pair of jeans.
Christ.
We'll cut them in the middle and then we'll tape them together. And I
Dude.
want to see you wear that.
No, we went to Goodwill together. Don't you remember? They didn't have any jeans.
I remember.
No,
I
nothing.
distinctly remember that day.
All right.
But all right, let's go on to the next song. iKon, Goodbye Road. Now, for me,
Ooh.
iKon's normally like the hype kind of group,
Mhm,
right? That's their
mhm.
style. But I was very surprised, and I felt like they've matured as artists with this song.
It was so good. I thought maybe I think the song by itself was good too, but with the choreography, I was like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, this is really
You know,
good."
Mm.
I was a big fan of during the chorus. I don't know if they did it every time. I don't remember. But when they just showed them dancing on a still shot and they didn't cut or
Yeah,
anything, that was
yeah.
because like I was like, wow, this is so simple, but it completely works. The choreo is not too crazy, but it just
Exactly.
works right now.
It's so simple, but it's so good.
I'd also like I love rooftop scenes in general, and I thought the color palette of this was really good.
Yeah.
And then shout out to the longshoremen. They were at the shipping yard at some point. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure they filmed this in Japan. That's what I think.
Oh.
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
Mm.
It felt
And,
like a
yeah.
very YG kind of song in a good way. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like every group has
Mm.
one of these songs, and like I wanted one from iKon
You know,
too.
One of the scenes I liked was when the one kid was sitting on top of the car, and then they had the screen behind him. I thought that was a really beautiful shot. But that's just more going into the cinematography, not the music.
So
Let's
then,
see.
oh sorry,
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was just so this is not an official
Mhm,
single.
mhm.
Oh really?
This is like a repackage of the last album,
Oh,
from what
I
I've
see.
read. I know there's new songs on this album, but I don't think this is like because they came back 2 months ago.
Mhm.
So I don't think this is a full blown new release. This is more like you know how Shiny's been like adding songs to
Right,
their album
yeah,
as they go along. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure this is sort of like that. I'm not.
Mm.
Don't mark my words, but that's what it feels like to me.
Well, they're doing really well on the Melon chart. They're number 2 right now.
Ooh.
This is the type of stuff that's killing the Melon chart right now because you have like Im
Yeah.
Chanjong's song, Roy Kim,
Damn.
Punch. All those kind of slow songs are like killing it right now. This fits
Yeah.
perfectly.
I think it's perfect for like the fall weather. It's kind of
Mm,
sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
And for the viewers at home, if you want to like expand your K-pop palette, I highly suggest you go on Spotify and there's a playlist that literally is updated constantly. That's just the Melon Top 100. So
Ooh.
that
wow.
literally just has the chart, and you can just go through all the songs. And another playlist I would suggest is K-pop Daebak, which just has more of the K-poppy stuff.
I'm sure everyone who's listening to the podcast has seen that at one point. Like that's
You
always
think my
been
mom has
suggested.
seen that, bro?
All right, never mind then.
Exactly. Shout out to my mom. I know she's an avid listener. Let's go.
Hi.
We got her a podcast app on her phone now.
Oh,
No.
shit. Yo, we got a fan.
But let's move on to the show winners this week. So one surprise. We'll cover that one last. But the first thing was that show champion didn't have a winner this week. That's what sometimes happens with these shows. But the GOT7 Lullaby won 4 shows, which is great because we love, as you
Yay.
heard last week, we love that Lullaby song.
Mhm.
And then the big surprise of the week was that today, Uju Sonyo won their first award ever.
Wait,
Let's
Loki, are we
go.
supposed to discuss
go.
this next week?
Ooh.
No. We cover Tuesdays
Oh.
on this week, so this
Okay.
is this week's news.
That's good.
Yo, I mean,
Congrats.
They did it!
I'm pretty sure I called this week. I mean, okay, so I'll make one caveat: a win's a win. Let's say that first. But the people who were the other candidates were Gongwon Sonyo, GWSM, and Dreamcatcher.
I don't
So-
give a shit. They won. A win is a win. Fuck
Exactly,
it.
that's what I'm saying. I'm just going to say competition wasn't that stiff, but a win is a win. That's how I feel.
I saw this was like one of like I haven't seen I haven't seen one of these clips where they get the first place and they say their thank yous. I haven't seen those videos in a long time because I think the last time I saw it was a long time ago with Twice, and man, XC just she says all the thank yous, and once she's done, she like bursts out crying and she just keeps on crying, and I'm like, yo, my God.
The China line also posted on SNS about the win, and it was pretty cool to see them. And then all the Uju Soyeon girls left comments for them and stuff. They're like, this is our win, not just like the kids who are here right now.
They mentioned it like 5-6 different times. It was great.
But yeah, I think the props here obviously goes to the group, but props to strategy from Starship for releasing during Chuseok, because that's risky, and it definitely worked out for them in this case. So good on them. But all right, so GOT7's dominating. Jenny, how do you feel about that?
I'm very happy, very proud of them. It's a great song. I think they deserve it.
And the show, the which is the music show that's on SBS MTV. If you want to get your first win, that's the show to do it on, because like
that's true.
A lot of the big fish in the ocean, in the K-pop ocean, don't promote on that show, but it's still considered a win. So that's where you should go, definitely, if you're trying to get your win. But that's all the housekeeping for this week. So let's get on to our main topic. This one is a pretty big topic. So it's K-pop companies and the big three. So I wrote a bunch of notes about this. So let's start going through some of them. So I say my first comment was that in K-pop in general, I would say there's a much heavier focus on the company than there is in the West, like in America. Yeah. And the question I propose to prove this point is, can you name Taylor Swift's record label?
Is it Warner Music?
Exactly. But pretty much every single K-pop group, you can like instantly name what company they're from, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is mostly due to the fact that Korean companies operate on much smaller margins, because if you compare the market for, let's say, a song released in the US, it instantly can go viral international. Where songs in Korea's a smaller country, the market's more niche. There's a much higher risk involved in releasing K-pop songs. And I think this more or less mirrors what the Korean economy is like, where there are like companies are the big giants of the Korean economy. Yeah. Like you think of Samsung, LG, Hyundai, Lotte, there's these humongous companies, and the same could be said on a smaller level for K-pop. Now, before we go more into the companies, I got one more statistic which I read. Now, mind you, this is about singers and not specifically idols, but last year the Korean National Tax Survey said that the upper 1% of Korean singers earn about $2.6 million, right? And the people who are in the upper 10% earn about $500,000. Now, you might say, oh, that's a good living. But if you think about it, the top 1% accounts for 45% of all revenue, and the top 10% accounts for about 90%. So if you're not at the top, it's a struggle. That's pretty much the point we're trying to make.
Also, I feel like I gotta realize that a lot of people who like are idols, they end up retired, and like a lot of them don't do anything afterwards.
Yeah.
Now, if we think of certain groups like Uju Sonyo, they still haven't gotten money yet. They're still working off their debt. So that's a primary example, and they won this week. So I'm hoping that soon they eventually get some pay. But all right, so let's get more into our topic. Does anyone have anything to say about like Korean companies in general and the structure of companies?
Nope.
I feel like we can talk about each company and we can just like.
All right, yeah, but before we get into that, I think the main reasons why companies are so dominant is because number one, they have the resources. They can get you on TV. They can get you an album. They can get you songs. And it's pretty much, if you don't go through a company, you pretty much can't do it. Like there are independent record labels in Korea, which is the indie route, but they're still technically companies. You can't just organically make a song and go on a TV show. That's like completely unheard of. And then the other two factors for idols and K-pop in general are training, and I already said it, but exposure. But so if we're going to talk about the K-pop companies, we got to talk about the big three, right? Definitely. So the big three are SM Entertainment, YG Entertainment, and JYP Entertainment. So Warren, do you want to cover them? You could just read off my notes.
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh boy. So I don't know. You didn't tell me I was gonna do this. All right. So the biggest company, personally, I think, is the biggest company is SM Entertainment. It was founded in 1989 by Isuman at the SM studio. In 1995, it became a company. It became SM Entertainment, and it started with the fact that Lee Soo-man was like a singer slash entertainer in the 70s and in the early 80s, and he wanted to like grow more singers and talents. So a lot of major players in K-pop came from SM. So we got SES, HOT, you got Shinhwa, Girl Generation slash SNSD, TVXQ, Super Junior, FX, EXO, Shiny, Red Velvet, and
now, if you just think about that, right? Just that list is
Huge.
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
That accounts for, I'm going to say, maybe 200-300 music show wins between those. And if you think about those people plus the solo wins they've had off of those groups when they've broken up some of them, it's ridiculous.
it's not on your list, but another person who was on SM for a long time was Bang Myung-soo, the comedian slash singer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he was one of the he made a lot of profit early on. But I what I think really interesting, what I think is really interesting about SM is that they remind me a lot of Disney. They have
I
their
can see that.
yeah, they have their foot in everything, and they just fucking buy companies after companies after companies, right? Like, this is like kind of like recent news. They bought Million Market today. So that's like, so Million Market is trying to make a girl group. Like Sonyeon and Josarang from this season's produced is in Million Market. Bunch of rappers and R&B singers like Suran is in Million Market.
Oh wow.
Penno Maker.
Yeah, Penomeko, yeah. Penomeko, right?
Oh.
They also have, they're also the biggest stockholders of Mystic Entertainment. So that's Yoon Jong-shin and a bunch of other R&B slash Korean
and
indie
the
singers.
People think Mystic's like an indie company, but they're under the SM umbrella,
Yeah.
right? Like,
They're
it's one of
not
those
indie.
misconceptions. And they also own Keys, FNC Ad Culture, which they also call SM Life
Wow.
Design.
They renamed it. And Galaxia, they also bought, which has rights to Sonyeonjae, who's one of the rhythm people. I forget the word. What's rhythm chezo in English?
Rhythm Chejo?
Yeah.
Wait,
Like gymnastics?
Yeah, rhythm gymnastics kind of thing. The one where you're like
Oh.
dressed up all pretty with makeup.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
like you throw around balls and catch that. Like.
Alright.
All right, whatever.
But,
But,
alright, I'll just do the last two, Warren.
yeah,
Good
I'll-
attempt.
I don't know
Good
why you made me
attempt.
do that. I'm not a good.
I don't know. I
MC.
just felt like I was talking too much. But alright, the second big company of the second of the holy trinity of big companies is YG, founded in 1996 by Yang Hyun-suk, also known as YG. He's a former member of Sotiji and The Boys. And notable artists coming out of YG, we have Just Kiss, Psy, Big Bang, 21, Winner, iKon, Blackpink, Akdong Musician. Also, the lineup is absolutely ridiculous.
Wait. We need to clarify something about Jackskies though. They weren't originally under YG.
Mhm.
They were DSP.
They
I
were
believe, right?
yeah, DSP,
Yeah,
yeah.
DSP.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
see,
And
that's
just
an
recently-
oversight on my part.
Yeah, just recently they moved to YG when they made the big comeback.
You're wrong.
Sorry, man.
Clarification.
Sorry, man. And then finally, we have YG Entertainment. JYP Entertainment.
What is it?
Jeez. And they were founded in 1997 by Park Jin-young, who's probably one of the most famous singer-songwriters in Korea. I think he's at like 96 or 7 number one songs that he's written, something like that.
Damn,
and
that's a lot of songs.
notable artist who's been under his company. I don't know if they're still at there or they started there, but we have GOD, Rain, 2 p.m., 2 a.m., Miss A, GOT7, and Twice most recently. Now, between these three companies, you could say historically they've absolutely dominated the market. Now,
Wait, you forgot
There's-
Wonder Girls.
Yeah, I was about to say.
oh man,
That's like one of
Where's
their
Wonder
biggest
Girls?
assets ever.
my bad. I mean, we're not talking about the artist specifically. We're talking about the company.
Yeah.
Now, Warren, historically, what percentage of the market, if I was to ask you, what percentage of the market do you think these three companies have had historically?
Like at least they've influenced like at least like 80%. You know, I'll give you that.
Yeah,
Dang.
a lot of these groups, like you could say like Sonushide, people are like, oh, their rivals were Wonder Girls, right? But another rival of theirs was Kara, right, from DSP. Now, I know people say that they were rivals, but if you look at the actual numbers of who's made money and who's won stuff, it's not even close. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I think the whole point of the conversation we're having on these huge companies is historically we've seen that these three companies, SM, YG, and JYP, dominate overall, right? It's not even been close. No one's even come touch them. Now, I think the main catalyst of why I wanted to have this conversation is there now, would you consider Big Hit Entertainment, who's the company that BTS is under, would you consider them now like having a big four in K-pop?
Nah.
I would say
Nah.
yes.
Not yet?
In terms of just like money making.
Okay.
Nah.
I mean, I think they're coming out with a new boy group, right? Like I feel like their future is very, very bright.
Here's what I say. Here's what I think makes the big three. Sure, money is a big part of the big three, but I feel like another thing that has to do with being a big three is that like there's two things, right? First of all, it's influence. These companies influence every part of Korean entertainment culture, from like dramas, acting, movies, you know, name it. They variety shows, you know, they have their hands on that shit. So that's one of it. And then the second thing is that like every artist that comes out of these companies will do at least better than like at least like 80% of people in the industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think just like if you're an artist under any of these companies, you instantly have so much credibility. It's like if JYP whispers on your song, you know, this is a JYP song, I expect a very high level song coming out. And the expectations are much higher. And generally they do pay out on those expectations. Now, in terms of big hit, I would say it's like a big 3.5. I would only give them like a half, because the problem with that I see with them is obviously Bangtan is the biggest thing going right now. They're absolutely killing it. But I would say the consistency is what they're lacking, right? Because there's no proven track record that they're going to remain hot. Like, let's say in 5 years when Bangtan has to go to the army, right? What are they gonna do?
Hopefully they'll have a new group by then. But I feel like compared to like the big three, like obviously Big Hit hasn't been around for so long. But comparing like where maybe like if we think about where the big three were at when they were just only out for like 5 or 6 years, like
starting.
Starting. Like I think then Big Hit made like a humongous like profit.
I see. I agree with that. I think it's I agree with you that it's a little too early to call it a big four. Like maybe in 5 years, if let's say they have 2 more successful groups, then I think you can say it at that point. That are I don't think you even have to be remotely as big as Bangtan, because I don't think you will ever be as remotely as big as them.
right.
But even if domestically in Korea you have a lot of success, I would consider it having a big four. Now,
Sorry.
Now, so obviously there's a big three, right? And it's like these companies, I think they stand alone from the other ones, which we'll talk about, because they're able to sustain more than like 1 or 2 groups at a time. I think that's one of the main reasons why I would consider them so big. Because if you think about someone like SM, right? The groups they're carrying right now, EXO, SHINee, Red Velvet,
NCT.
Super Junior, Girls' Generation, Dongbang Shingi, and they're carrying NCT, right? Like that's incredible that you could logistically manage all of that.
Yeah,
they're all huge groups.
Now another company, FNC is they're probably in the second tier, definitely in the second tier of company. And they're only really maintaining FT Island, CM Blue, and AOA right now as their mainstays.
Isn't N-Flying kind of...
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but
N-Flying.
It's a struggle city for them.
Yeah.
I think.
All right.
If before we go more into NCT, it's like for N Flying, it's more they're trying to be FT Island 2.0, and it's not sticking that hard yet. But I like managing four groups is great, but it's like the difference between that and the big three is that the big three can manage all those companies and still have all of them be successful at the same time. Whereas a group like AOA and CM Blue have, and even you could even say FT Island have kind of fallen off a little in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
It's like the sustained success, and you're able to create new groups that are just as successful as your past ones, which is what sets them apart completely.
Yeah.
Now, do y'all want to talk about Cube real quick? the dumpster fire that is Cube. Like,
Oh, you mean Tinder?
oh man.
Oh damn.
Okay, so Cube's pretty much, they got B2B. I pronounced that right this time. Let's go. They got B2B, and they're about to transition into like that period where their members have to go to the army.
Oh
Do you
no.
know?
Oh no.
They're starting to reach that age. You have
Oh.
CLC, who's kind of floundering a little as a rookie group.
Are they still
Pentagon has-
considered the rookie group? Like,
Yeah, I would say they're at the tail end of that.
Alright.
I consider rookie groups like 2 to 3 years.
okay,
Honestly.
okay, that's fair.
You got Pentagon, which is a dumpster fire right now, and then you have Yaja Idol, who's pretty much killing it. Right? It's surprising
Yeah.
how they're kind of carrying the company, but none of those groups are even close to the level of success that the big three are having right now. Like
Mhm.
JYP is twice and GOT7 are killing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
YG, you have the combined effect of Blackpink, iKon, winner, right? Like I know Actong because the guy's in the military right now, so they're pretty much on hiatus right now. And then SM, you got Super Junior still going strong, EXO's going strong, Shiny still hanging around, and you got Red Velvet pretty much at their peak power right now. So man, it's like historically we would consider Cube as like right under the big three, but right now it's a bit of a struggle for them. Like it seems like all these second tier companies like Cube, FNC, Pledis, Starship are kind of struggling to adjust to the new generation right now.
Yeah, they've all kind of fallen off.
Like Pledis, which is another humongous company, after school's it's essentially done at this point. Newest has made a resurgence, but they're not dominant. 17's like their bright star right now.
they're carrying the company.
And Pristine had a strong start, but they're kind of like stagnant right now.
They have their fair share of problems.
And then we look at Starship, it's like Sistars ended, right? And then Uju Sonyo, they did win, but it's taken a lot to get them to this point. And Monster X, their window to win a lot might be over. So it seems like the humongous companies were the only ones who were able to survive the switch over to like Gen 3 groups really well. And that just speaks a lot to why they're so dominant. But does anyone else have any comments on those?
I feel like out of these companies, like Pledis is the one that's like definitely going like uphill, I think.
Yeah.
Like I think like Newest is like they have a very, very strong fandom, like from like Produce 101. And 17 has a huge fandom too. So I feel like Pledis with their like boy groups, like they're doing really well.
They also have Priston, and I feel like that's a good asset to kind of play around with. And if they play their cards correctly, I feel like Priston can be like really successful.
Yeah.
As well, so.
But if you look at the common trend behind all of these second tier, I feel like they're not even second tier. They're like A's while the other ones are S's. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not crappy companies. They're great companies. It's just they're not at the highest level. But I guess we'll call them that. But the common theme behind all of them is they haven't adjusted to the new generation, other than maybe Yaja Idol and Cube. Like,
I feel like Cube is like their second attempt to adjust to like this generation.
yeah,
though. Like,
yeah. It seems like
okay, low key. I feel like
CLC was like a swing and a miss.
yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, CLC fans, but that like Yaja Idol's like winning stuff. It's like objectively.
That's true.
Pentagon was about to win stuff, and then they had this dumpster fire.
Oh.
And then Cube was stupid enough to throw away their biggest asset. So I don't know, man.
Yeah. But
Jesus.
and then on the lower end of this second tier, we have like Woolim, MBK, DSP. Right? Historically, I mean, I guess the story of DSP is like they started with Finkel, and then
Mhm.
they had the dominance of Kara, and then they kind of swung and missed with Rainbow in their whole long like career, and April's kind of swinging and missing, and Card's trying to make it. It's like it's a bit of a struggle. It seems like Kara was there after Finkel, because everyone knows that's a humongous historic group, but Kara was like
Sticky.
yes, but like Kara was a humongous high point for them, right?
Yeah.
But it even looks like for their overall lineup that Kara was just an outlier for them, because it seems like they can't raise another star, and
I
it's
mean,
unfortunate.
everything before Kara was kind of successful. Like Finkel was pretty big, but damn,
Yeah.
you know who I really feel
Yeah.
bad for in DSP? Like there's this girl who made it to Kara through doing this huge project.
What's her name?
Youngji.
Youngji?
Hoyoungji.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for her.
Hoyoungji. Last time I saw her, she was on like a cooking show. Like, that's unfortunate. She won that reality show to get into Kara, and then they
Then
ended
Kara
like
disbanded.
a year later, right?
Yeah. See, like I feel like DSP has a lot of good talent. They just don't really understand how to like play that card correctly. Like,
So we've mentioned like 10 companies, right? Those
Yeah.
are like the 10 10-ish biggest companies, right? It's even begs the question. This is what I always think internally now. If you're a fan of a company from if you're a fan of a group from one of the other companies, I'm sorry, but it feels like if you're a trainee and you're not at one of these big like 10 to 12 companies, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking when I was watching Produce a lot of the times, it's like, let's say I had a kid, right? A son or a daughter, could be either season, we don't know. And it's like, if my kid wants to be a trainee and he's auditioning for these companies and we don't make it into one of the big 12, it's like, Jesus, like, is this worth? Or do we just sit out
Right.
and keep trying to get into one of the big 12?
it's a difficult situation.
Because there's a lot of companies who are carrying like one artist, like one primary artist, like Source Music's Yeojichingu, Plan A, A-Pink, RBW, Mamamoo. Besides those companies, they
Yeah.
might have other groups, but they're like not even notable.
Yeah.
But it's and then you have companies who have like really fallen off. Star Empire,
Ooh, what is that?
Was Star
Oh, is
Empire
that
ever
Z-
huge?
Zaya?
Zaya,
스타제국.
Stajaguk, Nine Muses, and Jewelry.
Friday,
Wow.
Saturday,
Nine
Sunday.
Muses.
Dude,
Friday,
like
Saturday,
that's
Sunday.
like completely falling off the deep end with those ones, right? Like all those groups
Yeah.
are moderately successful, and then it's like, Jesus, what are you going to do?
I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing: when you get kind of this deep into like the companies, you kind of notice like a trend of how small the companies are. Like Star Empire began as this like random gangster who wanted to run like an entertainment company, like, and he has like 4. I think they began with 4 people running the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's like difficult, but like
No, that's a good point, because I think like just pure resources is a humongous determinant of how good your company is. Like JYP, they have like JYP, YG, SM, they own humongous buildings, all of them, and they have
Yeah.
hundreds of employees.
Whoa, no. SM does not have hundreds of employees. Wait, where are you getting this information? I thought they had like 70 kids.
You don't
Really?
Wait, let me look this up.
you don't think across all of the SM umbrella they have 100 employees?
Okay, I mean, maybe across all the employees, but
Yeah, not just the artists. Like you're talking about like
No, I'm talking
everyone.
about like logistical employees.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or,
like
that's
like
what
managers, like marketing
I'm talk-
people.
Yeah, they have humongous buildings.
Okay, I as far as I know, people working at just SM, not the umbrella companies, people working in just SM, I think is like 70-ish people. I'm like googling right now. Let me get.
Hey man, 70 to 100, it's similar.
I mean-
Round up.
I mean, you said
Plus, when you add the
hundreds.
artists, we all right, that's true. Yeah, I guess you're right with that point. Like, we think the K-pop world is humongous because we look at something like in America, Universal Records or something, and they literally have thousands of employees. But it's like, if you look at the revenue statements for even the big companies, they only report incomes of like 10, 20 million. That's after they pay everyone out and stuff, right? They pay salaries and they give out money, but like operating income, that's like extremely low when you compare to like Taylor Swift makes like 200 million in a year. right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But-
to be honest, like the Korean entertainment industry isn't that big to begin with.
It's way smaller than
yeah.
I would say I initially thought as a Western fan. I thought it was similar to like America, where there's these humongous companies and they have all these resources and they just like they don't know what to do with the amount of money they have, right? It's completely not the case. It's like struggle city for even some of them in the top like 11 and 12 companies, because you see a lot of the times it's like there's artists who are just sitting on the sideline waiting to get a new song.
Yep.
And the company's just like, we don't have or want to risk the funds to do another song.
Oh.
And like even some of the smaller companies we mentioned, like we could mention like WM, RBW. It's like one or two bad songs and the company can go bankrupt in some of these cases.
Right.
Yeah.
I've finished my Googling. I've looked up Job Korea, which is Korea's version of like Glassdoor. I was totally fucking wrong. I apologize.
How many?
SM has 418.
Hey, what did I say? Let's go.
JYP has 197 and YG has 357.
Bro,
What?
Dang.
these companies are huge. They have humongous
How come-
backbones.
How come YG has that many employees and they never fucking release albums?
That's the big question.
It seems like YG, it's like they're not willing to take risks. They only release stuff when they know it's a hit. Like that's the issues I have with them. But do you guys like this system where in an ideal world, I don't think number one, I wish these companies had more money to trickle down into the artists, right? Like these kids are literally sacrificing their youth to try to make it.
Yeah.
And that statistic I mentioned were the top 10% of earners. And if you just think of groups from the top 3 companies, that's like probably 7 to 8% of the top 10 earners, right? Top 10% earners.
Yeah.
They're making 90% of the money. It's just so unfortunate because let's say you're a kid and you want to be an idol. And you've been training since you were like 14. You get into a company when you're like 17 and you debut when you're 19, right? And let's say you guys keep releasing songs and you don't really make any money. And by the time you're like 25 and they disband the group, you're 25 years old. Your only skills are really dancing and singing, right?
Right.
You didn't go to college.
Dang.
And it's like, what are you supposed to do at that point? And
Big.
then for males, you have to go to Gundae now. So now you're 27,
Yeah.
28. And let's say you weren't an amazing dancer singer, you were just like a filler member of your group. Like, what are you supposed to do? I think that's the unseen like dark side of K-pop, where it's like there's a like for every idol that you know, there's probably 10 kids who tried and didn't make it.
It's a gamble.
Then you got to realize all the people who like sign up as trainees and get nowhere. You know. Like,
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
And like there's a lot of kids who are desperate to become idols, so they sign with like tiny companies who promise them the world, and a lot of the times there's like scams and stuff
Yep.
coming out of it.
So many scams.
Or you're a trainee at a company for such a long time and then they decide to drop you, or they promise you that you're going to be in your group's going to debut and it doesn't.
There was a group a long time ago. Well, they were supposed to be a group a long time ago called 오소녀. I don't know if you guys know
Oh
about it. You guys
yeah,
about it? Okay.
I know, Soyeon.
So a company was planning a group. It was it was a company called GOD Entertainment, and they had like a reality show and everything. And the people who are in this was Yubin from Wonder Girls, Yujin from After
Hyosung.
School, Hyosung from Secret, yeah. Gina, who went solo,
And then
Yang
Jiwon.
Jiwon, who's in Spica and Unity at this point. And they had this tremendous amount of talent, and like I think like a month before they debuted or something, they went bankrupt, and they just had to split. And like they were lucky because they got picked up by different companies. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like that lineup is incredible though.
Yeah.
Like imagine if that was a thing.
Yeah.
That's a good lineup.
Damn.
But I mean like we're on a bit of a sad note right now. Let's cheer things up,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I'm just talking about this. I was just sorry. I was just thinking of how the popularity of these survival shows, like trying to give like that second chance to people that were in those smaller companies where their projects got canceled. And I don't know. I feel like it's a good thing, but then even with those programs, it's not a sure thing.
So yeah, this is my I've been thinking about this, especially with Kwon who's in
Yeah.
Eyes One, right? Because she was in a group that failed. I forget the name. It was a very small group. I think it was Speed. No, that's a guy group. Isn't
Her
it?
name was
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's all I remember though.
But she was in a very small group that didn't make it, right? And she's like 23 right now. When iZone's over, she'll be like 25, 26, which you pretty much can't debut at that age. It's very rare for that to happen. But I think of the alternative of she just if she wasn't on Produce 48 and she didn't win, where she would have just probably been a trainee for a couple more years and just gave it up. And I'm more thankful that at least she has these 2.5 years to have a career in that sense.
Yeah.
And maybe she could use her popularity coming off of Eyes One to maybe not be an idol, but do something with it.
She could be an actress. She could do a solo career. You know, maybe never
So
know.
yeah, it's mixed feelings because I agree completely. Like after that's done, it's like what is she gonna do? But at least she'll have the opportunity to have a career.
Yeah, at least she has this. Like, there's so many people who don't get anything. So like, it's crazy.
And she's from a good company too. Like she's from Mulim, which is a pretty big company. Like imagine if you're someone from one of the tiny companies. Like, God, it's a struggle. But I mean, I don't think it benefits us to like trash the company system because that's what it is. We ain't gonna change it, right? There's nothing that could change about it. That's just how it is.
Although I do feel like a lot of the things are changing recently. Like I feel like a lot of the companies are like going in. Like I feel like everything you kind of talked about is kind of changing right now.
I agree. I feel like companies are being more financially prudent and only doing stuff now when they know that they'll be sustainable. I would say.
Not only that, I feel like companies are banding together into like bigger companies. Like
yes. I think that's smart because when smaller companies group together, they increase their power.
Right.
The amount of exposure they can do. But
sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, no, you go on. It's okay.
Wait. But I mean, I'm not a fan of the company system. I wish it was more artist focused versus company focused. Because sometimes I think when we talk about Blackpink, we're more pissed. We love Blackpink, but we're pissed off at the company so much. Like, things like that, where we should only just be like happy about the artist. And I would say the clear difference between the music, I would say the music industry in America and in Korea is an American artist. I'm not wondering like if they're gonna come back. I'm wondering when, right? Or in Korea, sometimes I'm wondering, like, are they even going to come back? Is this it?
It just comes down to the fact that the K-pop industry and the whole idol industry is basically, it's an industry. It's, you know, they have
and it's way smaller than like people think.
Yeah, right. They make products, they sell it, we consume it, we like it, and if something happens,
like,
we're sad.
You think about it. Korea has only 50 million people, which is, I think, about a seventh of what the United States has at around 350 million.
I think that's right.
I think that's right.
It's right.
Okay, cool. But it's like also as international fans, because import fees are so expensive on CDs and stuff, it's a lot harder for international fans to directly support their idols, even though they might be just as big as a fan as someone who is domestically in Korea, right? Because we have to pay like double what the list price is in order to get an album. And I get it. When you're like, I'm 26, I have money of my own, I can afford to buy CDs of my favorite idols. But when you're a teenager and it's a struggle, you're relying on your parents, maybe you aren't in a great financial situation, like just watching the YouTube videos, although it's a great way to support your artist, it's not putting money in the
Not
bank.
enough.
Right.
And I'm not saying you have to buy the albums, but I just think that's something you should be aware of when you are involved in a K-pop fandom. Is that like the saying that money makes the world go round? It definitely makes the K-pop world go round.
Oh yeah.
And success is really based on the bottom line. Man, I'm depressed. What?
I mean,
what is this?
I mean, okay. I don't think you need to be depressed. Like, I feel like a lot of the recent changes with the ways companies are like banding together and shit, like it's money is flowing in a more positive way, if you will, and I feel like that's gonna reflect on the idols.
Okay,
soon.
can I say something?
Oh yeah.
I do feel like it's getting better, but recently, you guys remember TS Entertainment?
Oh yeah.
I think that's like a really like depressing outcome of how the company is just using the idols for like money.
You gotta
all
elaborate.
about the money.
I have no
Can
idea.
you
What's
go
going
more
on.
into that?
Elaborate,
So that
please.
So I feel like we've talked about this in the previous episode a little bit, but basically, TS Entertainment, they had two groups, Secret and BAP, and they basically did not pay the idols for a really long time. And these idols are always exhausted because they're always doing like concerts, not just in Korea but internationally, and they don't get to rest. I think BAP had like so many mini albums. Yeah. So obviously like they don't respect the idols. They just see them as like money making machines. And I think that's really sad. And this is I don't think there's more of this in the smaller companies for sure. I feel like the bigger companies will take care of the idols better, but I think that's like the risk that the trainees have to take when they decide to go in a smaller company.
I mean, I'm not supporting people exploiting idols. That's not what I was saying. But like,
I was just, you know.
No, she wasn't saying that, man. It was general.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a general thing. I just remembered.
I agree.
I got one question for the end. It's not depressing. It's like, do you find yourself liking groups because of the company, or do you like groups individually?
Anita's definitely.
You cut off a ton there.
Anita's definitely what?
I think Anita's definitely company. She's like an SM fan.
See, okay, I feel like
Are you also a
SM
Pungyoungsu
has
fan?
like a sound to it though.
Yeah, I say a lot of companies have a sound.
Yeah,
because I
agree.
feel like if I'm just looking purely at the company, of course, I don't approve of a lot of the stuff they have done, like the decisions, the management overall. But I don't know. I feel like the company makes its image off of the sound they have, of the groups they produce. And I guess because they do sound a little similar, they have similar themes, the production value is pretty equal. I guess I am attracted to more of the company's groups. But I don't know. I guess
Anita just loves beautiful people. Just kidding. Because SM has a reputation for having like the prettiest people.
No, like SM does have that like SM kind of sound, and like YG has that YG sound.
The music.
For fun, it's like SM is like number one. It's like the most professional sounding, definitely. Like their stuff is, I wouldn't say it's cookie cutter, but it's like it sounds squeaky clean. You know what I mean?
It's also like half a step, like it's always like a half a step in front of the trend. Always like it's always like
it's a little different,
shit, you know, like
but trendy.
SM. They recruit a lot of the times on visuals, right? Well, that's like a common stereotype of SM. YG is more of your like hip hoppy, more swaggy company where they would take talent over looks sometimes. That's the stereotype.
But I feel like now they're also like really looking at looks.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then JYP is just like JYP's the more like, I would say it's kind of in the middle of the two, but with Twice he's going. But with Twice, he's going as bubblegummy as possible.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, you can kind of pick out like a certain attitude each company has, and then depending on what you prefer, you tend to just gravitate towards the artist within that. I don't know. I feel like most of the artists that I follow, that I listen to, do come from SM, but I don't think I have any loyalty to the company.
I'm more of a JYP type of guy, I feel. Definitely.
I've never seen you talk
Okay.
about Stray Kids. Like,
I mean, I don't
Really?
like.
That's true.
Oh.
That's true.
They're new.
Oh.
They're new. I'm getting used to them. But
Yeah.
I think
I don't
I'm
know.
definitely. Can I go?
oh yeah, sorry.
Okay, I think I'm definitely like the artist type of person because I've actually fangirled different boy groups in each of the big three. Like I fangirled iKon, I fangirled EXO, and I fangirled 2PM and GOT7. And even like the fandom style is very different for all three
yeah,
because
yeah.
some of the companies they love to like release like YouTube videos. Like
Right.
some companies don't ever do that. So there's also like bias towards that, I think, not just their music and how they look, but also like how they, you know, like grab the fans.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this. I'm gonna call it a wrap up here, guys. If everyone's good. But
Mhm.
I would say on a final note, it's like the company system is what it is. Where there's nothing. It's improving, but there's nothing we can really do to change it. And all you can really do to, if you don't like it, is to support your artists, because at the end of the day, that's the only thing you can really do to affect what's going on in the music scene, is to support the artists you like. But let's move on to the big news articles from last week. So the first one is a bit of happy news. So SM Entertainment donates 900 million Korean won, which is 800,000 US dollars, to the Shiny Foundation, which was established by the late Jong Hyung's mother in the hopes of supporting artists who lack management. And the foundation will operate with funds primarily from Jong Hyun's composition royalties, and then SM donated this humongous amount. And I think it's great on them to have done that.
I
Good
think
shit.
that's amazing. Yeah.
Good shit.
Respect.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Okay, second one, kind of interesting. JYP Entertainment to hold Korean music industry's first songwriter auditions.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of interesting that they want in-house songwriters so they don't have to outsource.
Very different route from SM.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, SM is generally known for, I know for beats they like to either buy the rights to Western songs or they go outside of their company pretty much, right?
I feel like all of their songs are outsourced nowadays.
But JYP's trying to go more internal, which is kind of consistent with what he likes to do, because he primarily likes to write his own songs, but having them within his own company would allow him to have a lot of creative control, which I think is smart. Next one, AOMG responds to rumors that Hyuna is signing with label. So AOMG said they did contact her stylist. This is a follow-up from last week, but it was to work with an AOMG artist known as Elo. Is that how I say it, Warren?
Elo.
Elo? Okay.
Hello.
And they said it was to work with that artist, not Hyuna. And they said they have had no conversations with Hyuna about signing.
Oh,
That
well.
could just be a lie. That
Dang.
could be a lie. So
We'll see.
we don't really know.
Elo gets made fun of for dressing horribly and just trying too hard. So
Well, this is good then, because
Yeah.
Hyuna's stylist does a pretty good job. And then
go Elo.
other news, Cube Entertainment responds to rumors about 101's Lai Kwai-lin signing with the Chinese agency after 101 ends. So a
Jesus
Taiwanese
Christ.
media outlet says that Lai Kwai-lin has already has an agreement to sign with a famous Chinese producer, and then the report stated that he will begin promoting in China following 101's disbandment.
So how did Cube respond?
They didn't, which is the
But-
interesting thing.
Oh Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, this is.
I read
it's
another
kinda bad,
article
yeah.
related where they said Kang Daniel will most likely go solo after 101 ends.
I can kind of see that.
Daniel.
Why? Are you,
Lastly,
why is
lastly,
it?
this
Oh,
is-
sorry.
you can keep on, Warren. You have
No.
another comment?
Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't want to create like stereotypes or anything, but like a lot of the Chinese idols who come to Korea always seem to leave Korea whenever like they get the chance.
I don't blame them because of the money.
I mean, I don't blame them either, but it's really sad. Like,
Okay, I feel like for Kanlin though, like I feel like because he's already like debuted before, and the Cube's like new boy group, like you know, G Idol just debuted. I feel like
Yeah.
they need some
Yeah.
time to prepare. So I feel like while like during the preparation time, like he's gonna be in China. I feel like that's how it's gonna work if this rumor is even true.
It's like
okay,
I although Jenny might have differing opinions than me on like the whole EXO shenanigans with the Chinese members, I never really put the kids at fault because if you think of it, Korea's 50 million, China's a couple billion people. Like, there's so much more opportunity to make money there. And at the end of the day, most idols, although some are in it because they love the music, a lot of them are in it to improve their lives of themselves and their families, and that's all related to money. But
That is true.
lastly, this is interesting news. Red Velvet's Wendy is rumored to be collaborating with John Legend for the next SM station.
Damn.
Isn't that ridiculous?
That is crazy.
That is humongous. I really hope
Damn.
that happens because Wendy's a fantastic singer, and John Legend's a legend. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's get to the upcoming releases for next week. So October 4th, which is Thursday, we have 2 solo comebacks with one of them's a debut, one of them's a comeback. With the first one is Sonyu Shide, Girls' Generation's Yuri is doing her solo debut, so that should be interesting. And then Soyu Sunsingnim from Sistar
Yay,
is coming back on Thursday as well, so that should be cool. Her stuff is always fire, but let's go.
It is.
And then next Monday on October 8th, we have Super Junior coming back.
Wait, this reminds me.
Yay.
This reminds me. Tiffany came back this week. Why didn't we discuss Tiffany?
Okay.
She did.
Yeah.
Exactly. Boom.
I didn't know.
And I'm a Tiffany fan, but it's like she's getting not that much traction.
She's going in with her own company. And like I saw the music video and Hyoyeon was in it and a bunch of other people were in it. It was
Oh, really?
yeah, it was a good song. It's worth a listen. Go
Wait,
check
she
it out.
left SM, right?
Yeah, she
Yes.
left SM. That's why she wasn't in the SNSD OGG.
She left SM, but on good terms
Yeah,
relative
yeah.
to other people who have left.
She left because like her contract ended. That's it.
Okay, so one more thing before we end. There's something I want to call October Madness going on this month because
Yeah.
everyone is trying to release songs before Christmas, the holiday season, because that's when all the big festivals happen and stuff. So this is a list of artists who are either confirmed to come back in October or rumored.
Holy
IU,
shit.
Taeyeon, EXO, Twice, Super Junior, iKon, Soyu, Junghoonji, Ihongi, NCT, Fromus9, and IZ*ONE. All of them might be coming back in October.
IZ*ONE
my
isn't even come
God.
back. They're debuting.
Yeah, they're debuting.
Oh
so
shit.
this is ridiculous.
For the rookies, they have to release something, I think, in October for them to get the Shininsang, which is like the
That's
hottest
true.
rookie award. Yeah.
And that's why IZ*ONE is coming back like the last week of October, probably,
Yeah.
in order to be able to do that. But man, this is crazy because the last month has been kind of quiet, and now it's just going nuts because everyone's trying to get in their songs so they could perform them at the end of the year festivals.
Man, they're all people I like too. Damn, this is gonna be exciting.
Oh yeah, this is a great time, and I'm hyped for all of these people. But anyone else got any other news? Any shout outs?
NCT.
Hey,
Listen to the
IZ*ONE.
highlight medley. It's great.
I would like to wish Takahashi Judy from Produce 48 and AKB48 a happy birthday.
Happy
Let's go.
birthday.
Oh,
Happy
one note.
birthday.
So our own Warren.
Hi there.
Very good graphic design, video editing, photoshopping, all that good stuff. He does all of our editing and photoshopping for this. But Judy mentioned that she missed Melina, which is a type of Korean ice cream bar. At one point after the
Tastes
show
fucking
ended.
great, by the way. Y'all should check
So
it out.
Warren made a Photoshop of her like as if she had an ad for it, and then one of Judy's fan groups in Korea is sending her a book of all the fan made stuff, and Warren's Photoshop got included, so she will see it.
Yay.
Shout out to Warren.
Yo,
Let's go.
It didn't just get included. It has a whole page by itself.
Dude,
Wow.
I'm so happy for you.
So proud of you.
I'm so proud. My mom was hyped for you too. We were like, woo!
Man.
But yeah,
I was just making memes. I was just making memes, low key, but damn.
bro, DM her after you think she got it to be like, I made that
Ooh.
Melina thing.
She doesn't check her Insta. Actually, I know this shit already.
Oh,
Goddamn.
you've already sent some
Bro,
stuff.
No,
Let's end there.
No,
Warren's a creep.
the fans know that she
So
doesn't
this
check
has
her
been
DM.
SojuTalk, your weekly shout out
Fuck
K-pop.
you.
I'm Doug, and we had Warren, Jenny, and Anita with us as always. So thanks to them. And then check out our podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. So bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Warren's a creep.
Wow.